Dr. Sarah Chun walked through the empty halls of Nexus Prime with careful steps. The space station felt too quiet today. Most of the aliens and humans had gone to the big meeting in the main hall. Sarah's job was to check the medical stations around the station, making sure everything worked properly. She carried her medical bag and scanner as she moved through the old sections of the station. These parts were built long ago, before humans joined the galaxy community. The walls looked strange with their flowing designs that hurt human eyes. If you looked too long, Sarah heard a noise from around the corner. It sounded like metal hitting the floor. She stopped and listened. The sound came again, followed by something that might have been a weak cry for help. She turned the corner and gasped. Bodies lay scattered across the floor. They were Veilthus guards, their crystal-like skin now dark and lifeless. Their beautiful armor was broken and covered in strange purple blood in the center of the mess. A figure sat against the wall. Sarah knew right away who it was. Queen Zethkara of the Veilthus Empire. Even hurt and bleeding, she looked royal. Her skin was like living crystal that usually glowed with soft blue light. Now the light flickered weakly, like a dying star. The queen's long, elegant limbs were folded around her body. Purple blood seeped through cracks in her crystal skin. Her large, silver eyes looked at Sarah with pain and something else. Pride, maybe. Or anger. Sarah moved closer slowly. She had studied Veilthus biology for years, but had never seen one hurt before. The queen's blood was not red like human blood. It glowed softly and seemed to move on its own. "Your Majesty," Sarah said in the standard galactic language. "I am Dr. Sarah Chun. I can help you." The queen's eyes focused on Sarah. When she spoke, her voice was like music, but weak. "Stay back, human. Do not come closer." Sarah ignored the warning and took another step. She could see the queen's wounds were serious. Without help, the alien would die soon. "I said stay back." The queen's voice became stronger, filled with command. "You are forbidden to touch me, human. It is the law of my people." Sarah stopped but did not move away. "You're hurt badly. You need medical help." "I would rather die than be touched by your kind," the queen said. Her crystal skin flickered brighter for a moment, as if anger gave her strength. Sarah looked around at the dead guards. What happened here? The queen closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, they looked tired. "My advisor, Kethmer, tried to kill me. He brought guards loyal to him. They attacked my protectors. Why would he do that?" "Because I—" The queen stopped talking. She looked at Sarah with strange expression. "Why do you ask questions? Why do you not run away?" Sarah knelt down but kept her distance. "Because you're hurt. Because you need help. That's what doctors do." The queen made a sound that might have been laughter. "Doctors, your people are so simple. You think helping others matters." "It does matter," Sarah said. "Life matters. Not all life is equal, human. My people learned this long ago. We are pure. We are chosen. Your people are—" The queen looked for the right word. "Useful, like tools. But tools do not touch their masters." Sarah felt angry, but tried not to show it. Even tools can save lives. The queen's head fell back against the wall. Her crystal skin was growing darker. "I am Queen Zethkara, ruler of 3 star systems. I have never been touched by a lesser being. I will not start now, even if it means death." Sarah watched the queen's light grow weaker. She had studied enough Veilthus biology to know what was happening. The queen's life force was leaving her body through her wounds. Without help, she would be dead in less than an hour. "Tell me about the law," Sarah said. "Why is touching forbidden?" The queen opened her eyes again. "It is written in our most sacred books. Physical contact with lower species brings contamination. It makes us dirty. unworthy. The punishment for such contact is death. For both people? Yes, the contaminated one must die. The one who caused the contamination must also die. It is the only way to keep our race pure. Sarah shook her head. That's crazy. Contact can't hurt you. It's just touching. You know nothing of our ways, the Queen said. But her voice was getting weaker. Sarah could see the Queen was fighting to stay alive. Her pride kept her awake, but her body was failing. The purple blood had stopped glowing and was turning black. What were you doing here? Sarah asked. This section is usually empty. Meeting someone, the Queen whispered. Someone who should not be seen with royalty. Who? The Queen looked at Sarah for a long moment. A human scientist. Someone who claimed to have important information about our species. About things we did not know. Sarah's heart started beating faster. What kind of information? About touching? The Queen said so quietly that Sarah almost missed it. About what really happens when our species make contact with others. Before Sarah could ask more questions, she heard footsteps in the hall. Heavy boots on metal floors. Multiple people moving fast. They come back, the Queen whispered. Kathmar soldiers. They will finish what they started. The footsteps were getting closer. Sarah had to make a choice quickly. She could run and save herself, or she could stay and try to help the Queen. If she stayed, she would probably die too. Sarah looked at the Queen's fading crystal skin. She thought about her medical training, about the oath she took to help all beings, no matter who they were, about what it meant to be human. She made her choice. I'm not leaving you here, Sarah said. She opened her medical bag and started taking out tools. Human, no, the Queen whispered. If you touch me, we both die. Not just from them. From my own people. From the law. Sarah looked into the Queen's silver eyes. Some laws are wrong. The footsteps were very close now. Soon, armed soldiers would come around the corner. Sarah had maybe 2 minutes to save the Queen's life. 2 minutes to decide if being human meant anything at all. She reached for her scanner and started working. Sarah held her scanner over the Queen's body, keeping it just above the crystal skin. The device beeped softly as it tried to read what was wrong. But the readings made no sense. The scanner showed nothing but empty space where the Queen should be. Your machine cannot see me, the Queen said weakly. Our crystal bodies block your simple tools. The footsteps in the hall had stopped. Sarah listened hard, but heard nothing now. Maybe the soldiers had gone a different way. Or maybe they were being quiet on purpose. How do your people treat injuries then? Sarah asked while she worked. We have special healers. They use crystal tools that can see inside our bodies. But they are all far away on my home world. The Queen coughed, and purple blood came from her mouth. I came here in secret. No one knows where I am. Sarah looked at her medical bag. Nothing in it was made for crystal beings. Human tools were designed for flesh and bone, not for aliens made of living rock and light. There has to be a way, Sarah said. What about emergency treatment? The Queen's silver eyes looked sadder. Emergency treatment requires touch. A healer must place their hands on the patient and feel for the damage inside. But only other Veilthus can do this safely. What happens if someone else touches you? Contamination, the Queen whispered. Our crystal bodies are pure. They hold the life force of our ancestors. When a lower being touches us, their life force mixes with ours. It makes us dirty, impure, wrong. Sarah had studied many alien cultures, but this was new to her. That's just superstition. Life force isn't real. It's just stories. The Queen tried to laugh but only coughed up more blood. You humans think science explains everything, but you know so little. You cannot even see the energy that flows through all living things. Energy flows through everything. That's basic physics. But it doesn't make you dirty when someone touches you. For my people, it does. The Queen's voice was getting harder to hear. For thousands of years, we have kept ourselves pure. We do not touch other species. We do not let them touch us. It is what makes us strong. What makes us better. Sarah felt angry again. Better? You're dying because you think you're too good for help. Yes, the Queen said simply. I would rather die pure than live contaminated. Sarah heard a sound from the hallway. A door opening somewhere close by. The soldiers were still looking for them. Tell me about this human scientist you were meeting, Sarah said while she thought about what to do. The Queen closed her eyes. Dr. Marcus Webb. He contacted my government with strange claims. He said he had discovered something important about Velthus biology. Something that would change everything. What did he discover? He would not say over communications. Too dangerous. But he claimed it was about the touching taboo. He said our beliefs were wrong. Sarah's eyes went wide. She knew Dr. Webb. He worked for the Human Science Council and studied alien biology like she did. But he had disappeared 2 months ago while doing research. Where's Dr. Webb now? Dead, the Queen said sadly. Kethmer killed him yesterday. That is why my advisor turned against me. He found out I was planning to meet with the human. He said I was betraying our people by even talking to a lower species about sacred matters. Sarah felt cold inside. Dr. Webb had been a good man. A smart scientist who wanted to help everyone. Now he was dead because he tried to share knowledge. What did Webb tell you before he died? Nothing. Kethmer killed him before our meeting. But he left behind his research notes. I read them in secret. The Queen opened her eyes and looked at Sarah. What he discovered would destroy everything my people believe. What was it? The Queen was quiet for a long moment. Purple blood continued to leak from her wounds, and her crystal skin was growing darker by the minute. He found old records. Very old, from before the touching taboo began. Records that show my people once worked closely with other species. We touched them regularly. We helped heal them, and they helped heal us. Sarah leaned closer, being careful not to touch the Queen. So the taboo isn't ancient? It is only 3,000 years old. Young for my people. Before that, we lived differently. The Queen's voice was barely a whisper now. The taboo began during a war. A terrible war with a species called the Zephyrians. They could control other beings through touch. They used this power to turn many Velthus against their own people. So your ancestors banned all touching to protect themselves? Yes, but the war ended long ago. The Zephyrians are gone. Yet we kept the taboo. We made it sacred. We forgot why it began. The Queen coughed again. Webb's research showed something else. Something more important. Sarah waited, but the Queen had stopped talking. Her breathing was very slow now, and the light in her crystal skin was almost gone. What else did the research show? Sarah asked. The Queen's eyes opened one last time. It showed that we need touch to be truly healthy. Without it, we grow weaker over generations. We lose abilities we once had. We become less than we should be. Footsteps echoed in the hallway again. This time, they were close. Very close. That is why Kethmer killed Webb and tried to kill me. The Queen continued with her last bit of strength. The research proves that everything we believe is wrong. If my people learned the truth, they would demand change. They would want to touch other species again. Kethmer and the other traditionalists would lose their power. Sarah heard voices now. Alien voices speaking in the Velthus language. They sounded angry and determined. Can you understand what they're saying? Sarah asked. They say the Queen must die. They say her body must be destroyed so no one can examine it. They do not want anyone to find Webb's research data that I carry with me. Where is the data? The Queen lifted one crystal hand slightly. A small device was clutched in her fingers. Here, all of Webb's work. The proof that the taboo is killing my people slowly. Sarah looked at the device. It was small and looked important. If the research was true, it could change everything for the Valthis people. It could free them from a harmful belief that was making them weaker. But first, she had to keep the Queen alive long enough to use the information. The voices in the hall were getting louder. Sarah could tell they were moving from room to room, searching for the Queen. They would find her soon. Sarah looked at her medical scanner one more time. It still showed nothing when pointed at the Queen. Her tools were useless against crystal biology. The only way to help would be to touch the Queen directly and try to feel for the injuries. But touching meant death for both of them if they were caught. It meant breaking the most sacred law of the Valthis people. Sarah made her decision. Some things were more important than laws. Sarah put her hand out toward the Queen's crystal skin, then stopped. Everything she had been taught as a doctor said to help. But everything the Queen had told her said that touching would kill them both. Human, no, the Queen whispered. Please, I accept my death. Do not die with me for no reason. There's always a reason to try saving someone, Sarah said. But her hand shook as she held it near the Queen's arm. The voices in the hallway grew louder. Sarah could hear them checking each room. They would reach this section in just a few minutes. Sarah thought about Dr. Webb. He had discovered something important enough to die for. The Queen carried his research in her hand. If both of them died here, that knowledge would be lost forever. The Valthis people would never learn the truth about their own history. Tell me exactly what happens when someone touches you, Sarah said. The Queen's eyes were barely open now. Pain, terrible, burning pain. The contamination spreads through our crystal matrix. Our life force becomes mixed with theirs. We become impure and die slowly. Has anyone ever actually tried it? Recently, I mean? No. The penalty is death. No one would risk it. Sarah nodded slowly. So you don't really know what would happen. You only know what the old stories say. The stories are law. They are truth. Stories can be wrong, Sarah said. She thought about all the human stories that had turned out to be false. About how science had shown better ways to do things. The footsteps were very close now. Sarah could hear soldiers talking to each other in the next room. I'm going to try something, Sarah said. But first, you need to know why. Why what? Why humans help others, even when it's dangerous. Even when it might kill us. The Queen looked confused. I do not understand. Sarah spoke quickly, knowing they had very little time. My people believe that all life has value, not just human life. All life. We think that helping others makes us stronger, not weaker. That makes no sense. Helping weaklings only makes you weak too. No, it doesn't. Sarah moved closer to the Queen. When we help others, they help us back. When we heal someone, they might heal someone else later. It grows and spreads, like ripples in water. The Queen made a small sound. But what if they are inferior? What if they cannot help you in return? Then we help them anyway, because it's the right thing to do. Sarah smiled sadly. Dr. Webb understood this. That's why he tried to share his research with you. He wanted to help your people, even though they looked down on humans. Webb was different, the Queen admitted. He spoke to me as an equal, not as a servant speaking to a master, because that's what we are. Equals. Different, but equals. Sarah heard a door slam open very close by. The soldiers had found the section where they were hiding. I'm going to touch you now, Sarah said. I'm going to try to save your life. You will die. Maybe, but maybe the old stories are wrong. Maybe Dr. Webb discovered something that changes everything. Sarah reached out and gently placed her hand on the queen's crystal arm. The queen screamed, but it wasn't a scream of pain. It was surprise. Sarah felt a strange tingling in her hand, like mild electricity. The queen's crystal skin was warm and smooth, not cold like rock. What? What is happening? The queen gasped. Sarah felt something flowing between them. Not contamination, something else. Something good. The queen's crystal skin began to glow brighter under Sarah's touch. I don't know, Sarah said honestly, but you're not dying. The glow is getting stronger. The queen stared at her own arm where Sarah's hand rested. The purple blood leaking from her wounds was slowing down. The cracks in her crystal skin were getting smaller. This is impossible, the queen whispered. Sarah felt warmth flowing from her body into the queen's. Not her life force being drained away, but something being shared. Like two batteries connecting and balancing their power. Maybe this is what Dr. Webb discovered, Sarah said. Maybe touching doesn't contaminate. Maybe it heals. Heavy boots stomped into the hallway right outside their room. Sarah heard harsh voices giving orders in the Valthis language. They are here, the queen said. But she sounded stronger now. Less like she was dying. Sarah kept her hand on the queen's arm. What are they saying? They order us to come out. They know we are here. Can you move? The queen tried to sit up straighter. To Sarah's surprise, she managed it. The healing effect was working faster than any human medicine. I can move a little, but I'm still badly hurt inside. Then we need more time. Sarah looked around the room. It was mostly empty, except for some old storage containers. No other way out except the door they came through. The soldiers were right outside now. Sarah could hear them preparing weapons. Your Majesty, a harsh voice called in standard language. We know you are in there. Come out alone and your death will be quick. The queen looked at Sarah. Go. Run. They only want me. I'm not leaving you. Why? I told you my people think humans are inferior. I believed it too, until now. Sarah kept her hand on the queen's arm, feeling the healing energy flow between them. Because that's what friends do. They don't leave each other behind. Friends? The queen sounded confused. We barely know each other. Sometimes friendship happens fast, when people need each other. The soldiers outside were getting impatient. Sarah heard them moving closer to the door. I need to examine your other injuries, Sarah said quickly. The touching is helping, but I need to understand what's wrong inside your body. You cannot. You would have to touch me in many places. The healing you speak of might be temporary. Too much contact might still cause contamination. Sarah thought about this. Everything in her medical training said to do a complete examination. But everything the queen believed said it would kill them both. What did Dr. Webb's research say about extended contact? I did not read all of it. Only the summary. There was not time. The door burst open. 3 Valthis soldiers in dark armor rushed into the room. They carried strange crystal weapons that glowed with deadly light. Step away from the queen, human, the lead soldier ordered. Sarah stood up slowly, keeping herself between the soldiers and the queen. She needs medical help. She needs to die, the soldier said coldly. And now you must die too. You have contaminated royalty. The penalty is death for both of you. Sarah looked back at the queen. The alien's crystal skin was glowing brighter than before. She looked stronger, more alive. The touching had definitely helped her. Look at her, Sarah said to the soldiers. Does she look contaminated? Does she look sick? The lead soldier hesitated. Even he could see that the queen looked better than when they had left her to die. Impossible, he whispered. Contamination should make her weaker, not stronger. Maybe your beliefs are wrong, Sarah said. Maybe Dr. Webb was right. The queen struggled to her feet, using the wall for support. She stood tall and proud, like a real queen again. Soldiers, she said in a commanding voice. "I am your queen. You will obey me. You are contaminated," the lead soldier replied. "You are no longer fit to rule. Kethmer is our leader now." The queen looked at Sarah, then at the research device still clutched in her hand. Then she looked back at the soldiers. "Then let us see who is right about contamination," she said. Before anyone could stop her, the queen reached out and grabbed Sarah's hand with both of hers. The moment the queen grabbed Sarah's hand with both of hers, everything changed. Light exploded from where their skin touched. Not harsh, burning light, but soft, warm glow that filled the entire room. The queen's crystal body became brilliant, shining like a star. Sarah felt power flowing between them, stronger than anything she had ever experienced. The three soldiers stepped backward, raising their hands to shield their eyes. "Impossible!" the lead soldier shouted. The contamination should be killing her. But the queen was not dying. She was growing stronger by the second. Her wounds closed completely. Her crystal skin became perfect again, glowing with health and power. She stood tall and proud, no longer hurt or weak. "I feel," the queen said in wonder, "I feel like I have been asleep my whole life and am finally awake." Sarah felt it too. Energy flowed through her body like electricity, but gentle and warm. She could sense things she had never sensed before. The life force of every living thing nearby. The queen's thoughts and feelings shared through their touching hands. "What is this?" Sarah whispered. "This is what we lost," the queen said. "This is what my people gave up 3,000 years ago." The soldiers lowered their weapons, staring in shock. The lead soldier's voice shook as he spoke. "My queen, you glow brighter than the crystal temples. How is this possible?" The queen looked at her free hand. Light danced under her crystal skin like liquid fire. Dr. Webb was right. The touching taboo was wrong. It has made us weak for centuries. Sarah could feel the queen's memories flowing into her mind through their contact. She saw images of ancient Velthis working alongside humans and other aliens. Healing together, building together, growing stronger together. "Your people used to do this regularly," Sarah said, understanding now. "Before the war. Yes, we worked with many species. We shared energy and knowledge. We were part of a great alliance that stretched across the galaxy." The queen's voice was filled with sadness. "But the war made us afraid. We closed ourselves off. We forgot what cooperation felt like." The lead soldier lowered his weapon completely. "But the sacred texts say touching brings contamination and death." "The sacred texts were written by frightened people during wartime," the queen replied. "They were meant to protect us temporarily, not forever." Sarah felt something else flowing through their connection. Knowledge. Scientific understanding that Dr. Webb had discovered in his research. She could see it all clearly now. "Your crystal biology is designed for this," she told the queen. "It's meant to connect with other life forms. When you isolate yourselves, you lose abilities. That's why your people have been getting weaker over the generations." "What abilities?" the soldier asked. The queen smiled and released one of Sarah's hands. She reached toward a piece of broken metal on the floor. Without touching it, she made it float into the air. The soldiers gasped. "Telekinesis," the queen said. "The ability to move things with our minds. My ancestors could all do this. But we lost it when we stopped connecting with other species." Sarah watched in amazement as the queen moved the metal around the room without touching it. "The human bioelectric field reactivates dormant abilities in your crystal matrix. We complete a circuit that you can't complete alone anymore." "There is more," the queen said. She placed her free hand near one of the dead guards on the floor. The guard's crystal skin began to glow faintly. "Resurrection?" the lead soldier whispered in awe. "Not full resurrection. He is too far gone. But with the right connection, we can heal injuries that would normally be fatal. We can extend life far beyond normal limits. We can share knowledge instantly across great distances. The Queen looked directly at the soldier. We can become what we were always meant to be. Sarah felt the Queen's excitement and wonder through their connection. But she also felt something else. Danger approaching. "More soldiers are coming," Sarah said. "I can sense them." The Queen nodded. "Cathmar brings his full force. He will not let this knowledge survive." Heavy footsteps echoed through the station corridors. Many soldiers this time, moving fast and with purpose. "We must escape," the lead soldier said. "I serve the true Queen, not the usurper Cathmar." "What about your beliefs?" Sarah asked. "What about contamination?" The soldier looked at the Queen's glowing form. "My beliefs were based on lies. The evidence is before my eyes. You have made our Queen stronger, not weaker." The Queen squeezed Sarah's hand tighter. "Can you maintain this connection while we move?" "I think so. But I don't know for how long." "Long enough to reach my ship. Long enough to get Dr. Webb's research to my people." The Queen pulled the research device from her robes and handed it to Sarah. "Keep this safe. It contains the truth my people need to hear." Sarah took the device with her free hand. It was warm and seemed to vibrate with energy. "What will you do with the truth?" Sarah asked. "Change everything," the Queen said simply. "End the touching taboo. Restore the old alliances. Bring my people back into the galactic community as partners, not masters." The sound of marching feet grew louder. Cathmar's forces were close now. "Can you fight them?" Sarah asked. The Queen smiled, and her crystal skin flared with brilliant light. "Watch." She extended her free hand toward the doorway. When the first of Cathmar's soldiers appeared, she gestured sharply. The soldier's weapon flew out of his hands and embedded itself in the far wall. "Surrender," the Queen commanded, her voice amplified by some new power. "I am your rightful ruler, and I have reclaimed abilities you thought lost forever." More soldiers poured through the doorway, but they stopped when they saw the Queen's glowing form. Their weapons trembled in their hands. "She has been contaminated," one of them shouted. "She is no longer pure." "I am more pure than I have ever been," the Queen replied. "I am complete for the first time in my life." Sarah felt the Queen's power growing stronger every second they maintained contact. But she also felt something else through their connection. The Queen was holding back. There was much more power available, but she was afraid to use it. "What are you afraid of?" Sarah whispered. "That I will hurt you," the Queen replied quietly. "This much energy flowing through a human body. I do not know if you can survive it." Sarah thought about Dr. Webb, who had died trying to share this knowledge. About all the Velthus people who had lived weaker lives because of fear and old beliefs. About what it meant to be human. "I can handle it," she said. "Trust me." The Queen looked into Sarah's eyes. Through their connection, Sarah felt the alien's fear, hope, and growing trust. "Together then," the Queen said. She stopped holding back. Power flowed between them like a river of light. Sarah's body filled with energy beyond anything she had imagined possible. She could see through walls, sense life forms throughout the station, feel the quantum vibrations of matter itself. The Queen's crystal body became a beacon of brilliant light. Her voice, when she spoke again, seemed to come from everywhere at once. "I am Zethkara, Queen of the Velthus Empire. I have been reborn through the touch of friendship. Any who follow the usurper Cathmar will face the true power of our species, restored as it was meant to be." The soldiers dropped their weapons and knelt. 3 months later, Sarah stood on the bridge of the Velthus royal ship Crystal Dawn, watching as they approached the capital world of the Empire. Through the viewing windows, she could see a planet that sparkled like a jewel, covered in crystal cities that reached toward the sky. "Are you nervous?" Queen Zethkara asked. Standing beside her, Sarah smiled. "A little. It's not every day a human gets invited to address the High Council of the Velthus Empire." The queen's crystal skin glowed softly with contentment. Since their first contact, she had changed in many ways. She was still royal and dignified, but now she was also warm and friendly. The touching taboo had been holding back more than just physical abilities. It had been holding back emotions and connections too. "My people are nervous as well," the queen admitted. "For 3,000 years, they have believed that touching other species meant death. Changing such a deep belief is not easy." Sarah understood. After Kethmer's defeat on Nexus Prime, news of the queen's transformation had spread quickly through the empire. Some Velthus had been excited by the possibility of restored abilities. Others had been horrified by what they saw as royal contamination. "How many still support Kethmer?" Sarah asked. "Fewer each day. When my people see what the old abilities can do, many change their minds." The queen gestured toward the viewing screen, where several crystal ships moved in perfect formation around them. Those ships are controlled by enhanced Velthus who have formed connections with human crew members. They can move faster and more precisely than any ship controlled by crystal beings alone. Sarah had seen this herself over the past months. When humans and Velthus worked together, both species became more than they were separately. Humans gained the ability to sense quantum fields and energy patterns. Velthus regained their lost telekinetic and telepathic abilities. "Dr. Webb would be proud," Sarah said quietly. "He will be remembered as a hero," the queen replied. "The human who risked everything to save my people from themselves." The ship began its descent toward the capital. Sarah could see the massive crystal palace where the High Council met. In a few hours, she would stand before the most powerful Velthus in the galaxy and present Dr. Webb's research. The queen had already announced her intention to abolish the touching taboo, but the council had demanded proof that such contact was truly beneficial. "What if they don't believe the evidence?" Sarah asked. "Then I will show them." The queen held up her hand. Crystal light danced under her skin, brighter and more beautiful than any natural crystal Sarah had ever seen. "I will demonstrate what we have become together." Sarah reached out and took the queen's hand. Immediately, warm energy flowed between them. In the months since their first contact, this connection had become natural and comfortable. Like breathing. Through their link, Sarah could feel the queen's determination and hope, but also her worry. The High Council included some of the most traditional Velthus in the Empire. Convincing them would not be easy. "Whatever happens, we tried," Sarah said. "No," the queen replied firmly. "We will succeed. Too much depends on it." The ship landed in the royal spaceport with a gentle thud. Outside, Sarah could see crowds of Velthus waiting. Some held signs supporting their queen. Others protested against what they called the contamination of royal blood. "Are you ready?" the queen asked. Sarah picked up Dr. Webb's research files and nodded. "Let's change the galaxy." They walked together through the crystal corridors of the palace. Velthus nobles and servants stopped to stare as they passed. Many had never seen a human walking hand in hand with their queen. Some looked shocked. Others looked curious. The council chamber was enormous, with crystal pillars that reached up into a domed ceiling. Hundreds of Velthus council members sat in curved rows, their crystal bodies glowing softly in the dim light. At the front of the chamber, an ancient Velthus named High Counselor Vethran sat on a throne made of pure crystal. "Your Majesty," Vethran said in a voice like distant thunder, "you bring a human into our most sacred space. This is unprecedented." "Many things I do now are unprecedented," the queen replied, walking to the center of the chamber with Sarah beside her. "That is what change means." Change can be dangerous, another council member called out. The touching taboo has protected our purity for 3,000 years. And in those 3,000 years, we have grown weaker, the Queen responded. Our children are born with less power than their parents. Our ships require more crew to operate. Our healers struggle with injuries that our ancestors could cure easily. She gestured to Sarah. Dr. Sarah Chung carries the research of Dr. Marcus Webb, the human scientist who discovered why we have been declining. She will present the evidence to you now. Sarah stepped forward, feeling hundreds of crystal eyes upon her. Her hand shook slightly as she activated the holographic projector that would display Webb's findings. Honored counselors, she began. 3,000 years ago, your species made a decision based on fear. The Zephyrians could control minds through touch, so you banned all contact with other species. This decision saved you from mental domination, but it also cut you off from something essential to your biology. The hologram showed images of ancient Veilthis working alongside humans and other aliens. Crystal beings moving objects with their minds, healing terrible injuries with a touch, communicating across vast distances through mental links. Your crystal bodies evolved to form symbiotic connections with other life forms, Sarah continued. When you isolate yourselves, your quantum matrix becomes unstable. Abilities shut down. New generations inherit weaker patterns. Lies. Someone shouted from the back of the chamber. We are pure. We are strong. Are you? The Queen asked. She released Sarah's hand and walked to the nearest council member. Counselor Deathcore, show us your telekinetic abilities. The elderly Veilthis tried to lift a small crystal from the floor using only his mind. The crystal trembled slightly but did not move. Now watch, the Queen said. She returned to Sarah and took her hand again. Power flowed between them, visible as streams of light running along their arms. The Queen gestured toward the crystal, and it shot into the air, spinning rapidly before settling gently into her palm. The council chamber fell silent. This is contamination? The Queen asked. This is weakness? High Counselor Vethran leaned forward on his throne. How do we know this power will not corrupt you? How do we know the humans will not control your mind as the Zephyrians once tried to do? Sarah spoke up. Because humans don't want to control anyone. We want to work together. We want to help each other become stronger. Why? Vethran asked. What do humans gain from this? The same thing you gain, Sarah replied. We become more than we were alone. When I connect with Queen Zethkara, I can sense quantum fields and energy patterns that no human has ever perceived before. We both benefit, and the human government? Another counselor asked. Do they seek to use this connection to spy on our empire? The human government doesn't even know about this yet, Sarah said honestly. I came here as a doctor trying to save a life. Everything that followed happened because we chose to trust each other. The Queen stepped forward. I propose we begin careful trials. Volunteer Veilthis will form connections with volunteer humans. We will study the effects together. We will learn what works and what doesn't. We will move forward slowly and safely. And if the connections prove harmful? Vethran asked. Then we will stop, the Queen said simply. But if they prove beneficial, we will expand them. We will teach our children what we have learned. We will restore our species to what it was meant to be. The council debated for hours. Some members remained convinced that any contact with other species was dangerous. Others were excited by the possibility of restored abilities. But gradually, more and more counselors began to support the Queen's proposal. Finally, High Counselor Vethran called for a vote. The result was closer than Sarah had hoped, but clear enough. By a margin of 60%, the council voted to begin trial programs with willing volunteers from both species. As the session ended, and Council members filed out of the chamber. Vethran approached the Queen and Sarah. "This is a momentous day," he said. "Whether for good or ill remains to be seen. But you have convinced us to try." The Queen bowed respectfully. "That is all I asked for. A chance to prove that cooperation makes us stronger than isolation." Later that evening, Sarah stood on a balcony overlooking the Crystal Capital. The Queen joined her, and together they watched the sun set over the most beautiful city Sarah had ever seen. "What happens now?" Sarah asked. "Now we build bridges," the Queen replied. "Between our species, between our governments, between all the peoples of the galaxy who have been kept apart by fear and prejudice. It won't be easy. The best things never are." The Queen squeezed Sarah's hand. "But we have something that has been missing from the galaxy for too long." "What's that?" "Hope," the Queen said simply.